Welcome back to the Always Right podcast. It's been a while.
Lordy girl, did you get younger? I ain't seen you in forever.
Now, is this new skincare cream I'm using? It's called Florida.
Oh, Rita. What did I say to you the other day when you texted me? I want to take a break and go lay out on the beach.
No, that's not what I said. That's probably what you heard when you were reading the message, but my text message to you was um oh gosh, hold on. I've got to go back and find this because you're like,
I either said I hate you, you're dead to me, or something like that for
yeah,
sure.
your typical like whatever. I said something about like I'm gonna go to the pool and lay out for a couple hours and then I'll be back in the office. And you're
I said,
like,
shut your dirty mouth.
yes,
Yes, yeah.
yes.
I secretly hate your Florida guts. Or-
Florida guts.
yeah. Yeah, Flowrider. He's a rapper. Florida.
Yes, yes. But we've been busy. We've been very busy.
Lord
Though we
God,
haven't.
we've been busy.
Yes,
I
we
mean,
have not seen each other, but technically we've been talking like almost every single day, if not thousands of times a day.
yeah, for one thing, before we get into this podcast, I've had really good website designers, but I've never, not knocking anybody, but it just nobody was getting the vision I wanted. I wanted, when you go to jamievendera.com, considering I'm an author, I'm a podcaster, a publisher, a vocal coach, a singer, nothing was pulling it in for that branding. And secret plug, since that's what we're going to talk about today.
We're gonna talk
But
about branding.
yes, yeah, cat's out of the bag. It's about branding. So I had talked to you about this, and you had been making some updates on Vendera Publishing and 7-Eleven Press and the page for, Always Right podcast. And in Squarespace is what I use to host that. And you're like, oh, okay, I got a handle on this. So I'm like, do you now? Why don't I hire you to do my website? And twisted your arm a little bit and kind of got you in that realm. And my gosh, it's live. I mean, it's wonderful. It's everything that I wanted with my bio and all the connections. I wanted it simple, clean. I wanted it colorful. I love my disclaimer. I love my old logo, the Jamie Vendera with the wings and the glass shattering. But I was discussing with you, and I said I don't really have anything that combines what I do. So I had you do a new logo for me. There were a few products that I didn't really have covers for, and we were on a timestamp. I mean, we have a team, we have great cover designers, but I'm like, I need this done yesterday,
Mm-hmm.
and you're like, okay, well, I'll do it, and you knocked it out.
30 seconds later.
Yeah, no kidding. You knocked it out really quick, and you made them. I said I want them kind of colorful, uniform for those specific products, which are Vocal Mindset 1 and 2. I had great covers before, but
I didn't have the original photos.
we didn't have the original photos. I had back in the day, in the Stone Age, when I saved everything to an external or had another computer. All that's gone. It
That way
was
everything
corrupted.
looked like it had been carved out of the chisel and
Yes, and that's how it was. But I wasn't smart enough to save those to Dropbox or Google Drive or anything. So we were hurting. So I just had you. I was like, look, we have to do something. That, and there was a couple others. What were the other two that we did? Vocal Mindset 1 and 2.
mm-hmm. And then I did the
Ultimate Vocal
all
Warm
right.
Up, and Voice RX, because we just didn't have the originals, and I didn't even have one for Ultimate Vocal Warm Up.
Yeah, even trying to pull those from online, they were just like super blurry. Yeah, and the one you didn't have, you didn't have a cover for it. It was just a picture of you in some place.
Yeah, and it's what, like
You
I
made it
said,
look like you were trying to buy like vapes or something. I don't know where you were.
I don't even remember. Who knows? So,
Yeah. So
but
let's
it
talk
was
about
all
branding.
part of a brand. I mean, back in the day, like after Mythbusters, I have a friend who owns GetSigned.com, and we've done programs together, like the Extreme Scream. So we branded that, but he says, dude, you do realize Jamie Vendera is a brand. I'm like, get out of here. He said, seriously. And so I had my last name trademarked,
Mm-hmm.
Vendera, and with a certain font, and kind of good thing, because I had a student, nothing against this kid, it's some kid from Croatia I'd done some free lessons for years ago. He was on like Croatian Idol, and he one day out of the blue, and I didn't want to hurt his feelings, like, hey, I love you so much, you really helped my voice, I think I want to use my stage name, my last name is Vendera. And one of my business partners at the time said, abso-freaking-lutely not. And I wasn't going to say, dude, no, that's trademark, don't do it. But I said, I appreciate, you wanting to pay me homage, but no, you can't be using my last name for that,
Mm,
you know. So he kind of came up with it. He still did this thing where he combined his first name and part of my last name. I'm cool with that. But the point is protecting that brand, you know, and building that brand visually, vocally, you know.
hmm.
So I'm going rambling on and on and on, but I guess we should get in.
Okay, it's okay. So the basic topic is to brand or not to brand, and basically you're already touting off that it's a definite yes, you should brand. But let's talk about why. First of all, actually, before we even talk about why, what is it? What is a brand? Like what? How would you define a writer's brand? Because we talk about writers in this podcast mostly. So writers can be songwriters, they can be book writers, they could be any kind of writer. But what really is a brand?
I mean, to me, it's like a unified persona, you know, so it separates you from the crowd. If I think of singers, I got to think of Lady Gaga. I mean, that name and that visual and that voice is definitely a brand. She created something. I mean, many people done it along. Madonna did it back in the 80s. There's bands
Well,
like Gore.
those are good examples with singers for sure because they're just a one name. Like even Prince at one time tried to change his brand
To
from
the
Prince
symbol.
to a symbol, and it
Yep.
didn't last very long because we're like, okay, the artist formerly known as Prince was actually your brand.
Well,
But
yeah, there was a reason for it though, with his trials and tribulations with Warner Brothers. So, I mean, it was a smart play. People just didn't understand it at the time. But, you know, it was a way to like, hey, take back who I am. Quit trying to claim my
right,
creative, you know, publications.
yeah. So and it's kind of cool to see artists now taking claim to who they are. Taylor Swift doing it, like a lot of artists following suit with taking claim to who they are and owning themselves as far as like having someone else own them per se. Um,
And I think you like, I'm glad you brought up this podcast because you, as an author, you need to do this too. And I mean, like, one reason I think of is when you write a book that stands out, whether it's Harry Potter, or, Twilight, or 50 Shades of Grey. I use those three examples because after they came out, every brother, mother, daughter, sister, uncle, everyone tried to write in that
same.
genre and basically copy them, you know,
Yeah,
to steal off of that brand to get rich really quick.
yeah,
And so luckily those authors they branded themselves very well.
yeah, yeah. And I mean that's the thing that they created almost a new brand in a genre. Like okay, so like since we're bringing these up, um, J.K. Rowling, she created a new version of a brand that already existed. So she brought to life a genre that it already existed. It's not like wizards and things like that didn't exist. She brought a new style to it, a new viewpoint, a new perception. So she kind of like created like almost like a typecasting in a way. She typecasted her style. Um,
I see that was Stephanie Meyer too, though. I mean, there
Stephenie
was no
Meyer,
shiny vampires before
right?
her.
So people can say all they want about shiny vampires, but the thing is, she did it and she did it successfully.
Absolutely.
Um, yeah, and then like 50 Shades of Grey. You may not be into the stuff that's in 50 Shades of Grey. I was not a personal fan of her writing, but it worked. Like I may not be a fan, but it worked with whatever she did to it got people to buy her books, to read her books, and make it into movies. So it worked. Okay, like so you kind of like you have to like what is your brand? Are you a brand that's wanting to be more commercial like that? Like let's talk about some of the elements of a brand. So like we're talking about you needing a brand because you're creating this this foundation of your work. So, like for example, I created a logo for you, like you said. I created a logo. I'm working on a logo for myself, and then because I've also built my own. I rebuilt my website for carissadelay.com. And then, of course, I'm doing book covers, storyline starters, and websites for creative and writers and people in that wheelhouse. So I created a website for that. So I've been kind of busy doing that. Um,
But you done something smart, because like we were talking about maybe yesterday, and you went and you texted me like, I forget what you said, but I went nuts and I went and bought like 3 or 4 different domain names. I wanted to say welcome to the party. You go into my,
well,
you probably
yes,
went to my
because I have
GoDaddy and you're like,
access.
what?
I have access to your GoDaddy, and I'm
And
like,
you're like,
what's the flip?
oh my gosh. But some of them I'd let go, but I could really sell them or whatever. But you came up with covers, book designs, covers designs, but you don't use a C, you use a K, Kovers for
That's my
Carissa.
name starts with a K. Yep.
So I thought it was a smart. But I do believe, correct me if I'm wrong, they're all funneling to the same website, chrisadelay.com, coversdesigns.com,
No, no, no.
coversbookdesigns.com.
Yes, carissadelay.com is my author landing page, but
Okay.
it's kind of like I'm creating a brand like Jamie Vendera. Same idea. I have a basic landing page for my website that is me, but there's a shoot off because I'm also covers. So coversdesigns.com goes to it goes to the covers landing page. It's all
Yep.
in the same website. People
Yep.
don't understand the backside of websites, but technically it's all the same website, but there's a back end to forward things. I also own the coversbookdesigns.com, but we were having challenge with that one getting forwarded because it's through a different like a different server that like or different domain housing system. But the key is with doing that is when you're pushing something, when you're telling people you're doing something, a lot of people want to go to your website. A lot of people want to go to your Instagram. A lot of people want to go to your social media and see your work. Whenever I'm doing hair, people want to see what you're doing. They don't want to go based on word of mouth is from your friends, not your word of mouth. Word of mouth is spread that way. So when people are spreading stuff about you, what does your brand look like when they go to see you? Like when you go to certain Instagram pages, there's a certain aesthetic with certain brands. I feel like certain companies take pictures a certain way. And I kind of got on you about this in the beginning when you kind of gave me the reins to help with Vendera and take over some of the stuff. Um, was the look? There's a
Hmm.
look that you want to maintain and like a style. So Vendera, that's the name, the genre. We house a lot of fiction and nonfiction, but we have a certain style to it. We have visuals that we like for our social media presence, and we maintain certain values. Like we opted out of certain books recently based on how it would be accepted
Hmm.
or the title. Like that we had an author who wouldn't change the title, so we're like, this wouldn't fit because it wouldn't fit into our
Aesthetic.
bookshelf. Yeah. Well, yeah. So it was like we have a style and we're trying to maintain it. So
Yeah, one thing I like, and I got to be honest, I had came to you with the argument. I said, "Man, I wish I'd just dropped 7-Eleven Press and moved everything to Vendera because that came about with me and Daniel Middleton from Scribe Freelance. He had written the book 7 Points of Right, and I had written 11 Simple Steps to like marketing your book, and we were dabbling in fiction. And he said, let's just make an imprint of Vendera Publishing and call it 711 Press. And those are like the flagship books in the nonfiction, but we'll write fiction for everything. But the thing you said is, hey, I'm going to redesign that landing page for 7-Eleven, which is still in Vendera. And since you made it more aesthetically like an alignment with Vendera published, I'm like, okay, there's no sense in going through print books or this or that and changing all the ISBNs to go to Vendera Publishing. We'll just keep it. And you actually argued for that. And I was like, no, let's get. He's like, no, there's nothing wrong with it. Let's just keep it. And it's
right, we
fine.
just rearranged how it's visually seen on the.
Honestly, and I'll admit it now too. The number one reason I didn't even say this to you when we are talking, I sometimes feel guilty because I'm like 7-Eleven Press. It's just me, I feel like I don't want it to look egotistical. I'm like, oh, and it'll only just be me unless it's you and me, or maybe you and me and another author like Willow or something writing some short movie books. I'm fine with that
Right.
to
Yeah.
to do that, but it's
Yeah.
a
For now,
style.
it's just you, and like in case if we decide to collab on something, and that's fine down the road. But right now, it's still its own thing. It's still its own brand in a sense, but it's a side brand of Vendera. Vendera houses all of the authors. And 7-Eleven Press is a entity that spawned from that. So it's a visual style. So like I created that page to visually look like 7-Eleven Press, like look like the books that started it all, kind of create that layout.
Well, it makes the way you branded too. It makes so much more sense. Even the wording, we were really elegant with the wording, like explaining what a movie book is, what a TV book is.
Mm-hmm.
Going to that page, actually, yeah, going to that page when I read it, I'm like, ooh, I want to buy these books. This sounds really, really cool.
I might want to read these, but it's been a while.
Yeah, that's the only thing I hate about. I gotta reread them to finish some of them, but oh well.
Ah, that's funny. Okay, so let's talk about some of the arguments for branding. So why would an author so like you're a brand new author, okay? No matter if you're published or self-published, whatever, you're a brand new author. What's the argument for branding? Why would an author want to brand themselves.
I mean, the only thing that comes to my mind for me, who I said earlier, is to stick out among the crowd. If you're a vampire author, there are 50,000 vampire authors.
Hmm.
Well, what is going to make you different? What is going to make you unique? What is going to make you iconic?
Do you think that when someone takes the time to brand themselves and put all of these points in there, that it makes them more credible as
Well,
far as like
absolutely.
storytelling?
I mean, for one thing, I've pushed a lot of nonfiction authors who were like, maybe they specialize in auto mechanics, for example. And I'm like, look, you figured out the quickest way to take out an engine, drop an engine back in, and you're doing something nobody else is doing. You need to write a book on that. Have some videos on that, so it's kind of branded to you. You're the engine dropping dude, and he may go by that name, so and so engine dropping dude, and you write a book, and it's not necessarily at that point for book sales, though it is, but it's almost like a business card.
Hmm.
So yeah, if you are writing books and you're branding yourself, absolutely you're going to stand out as more credible. It may get you speaking gigs. Like, wow, they've written 3 books. They've written in Egyptology, a fiction. Even though it's fiction, they pulled in a lot of true factual elements. Or your book, for example. That can lead to being a host on or interviewed on talk shows or on podcasts or going and giving speech. I'm too ADHD this morning. I'm too excited about this stuff. But when you go up a presentation like TED Talk, something like that. So yeah, they're going to look at you if you're an author and you do have instant credibility. So if there's a way to brand it to you and not just I be a random person who puts out books,
Yeah.
absolutely.
I definitely agree that it shapes the perception of, the viewing world of you. But that also can be a flip side to a con. So they can also pigeonhole you if you're not careful. Like, for example, when you were talking about your original, which I liked your original logo. It had the cool wings, it had the like shattered glass effect to it.
But it was
But
very dark.
but it was specifically pigeonholed to Rockstar Shattering Glass. It didn't have anything to do with your author, being an author, any of that stuff. So it didn't have like the sound, like so it kind of did pigeonhole what the Jamie Vendera logo was about and what your website and your original website, like I said, it just needed updated because it was specifically only for the music part of you.
Yeah, and I didn't tell you this either. I almost said, "Can you throw a microphone in there?" But it would have been
Just
too busy. It'd been too busy. But you have the sound wave, like we discussed that, and if people look close, like, wow, it's a sound wave. So it really incorporates everything that I do.
yeah, yeah. So yeah, because then I played around with that with like a podcast mic, but I really wanted the shattered glass with the pin, and it just worked better. But again, like I said, the negative side of some of the arguments against, or the cautioning I should say, against branding is pigeonholing yourself. So when you're creating a brand and you're interested in possibly doing other things, think about that in the long run. Don't make your brand so specific that it keeps you from being noticed in other genres. And these cons I'm going to list are going to kind of segue us into what I'm doing to help authors as far as creating things. But sometimes when you really want to create a brand, but that's not your thing, it can make you overthink and keep you from writing. It can be very time consuming. So you may want to think, okay, I want a brand, but I don't have time to think about it. Get with someone like myself who can see your vision as you talk to me. Like, I like to talk to people like you. I was like, oh, let's talk about this. Let's what things you want to see. What colors do you like? Give me your palettes. And I kind of went with that. Versus mine, a website aesthetically portrays me. It's more floral, like more feminine, more vibrant colors in different areas, versus where you have some vibrant colors, but yours are more like Jamie the rock star,
Yeah,
author, vocal coach, all these things. Whereas mine is more of like the creative, pushing the overlapping of different types of media. But yeah, I was gonna say, like, the pressure to create a brand can be a negative side against doing it, but we're here to help. We have
yeah.
ideas.
It is for me. Like the images. If you go to the homepage of Jamie and you have like the podcast or vocal coach, I can't. I'm very visual, but I couldn't do that. I would literally have, if I were you putting it together, I would have 27,000 different ideas and I wouldn't know what to choose. Funny thing is, I'm really good, like the artists I work with, I'm listening to their voice. I've seen what they like, and I can start to visualize, oh, these are the type of clothes you need to wear. Hey, like I had a girl yesterday, she's a white Christian artist. She sounds like early R&B funk, Alicia Keys, a little more power, more like Beyonce and Destiny's Child. So even though she's that, I talked to her and I seen this brand and this vision to kind of pull her out, like silver hair, certain way to dress. And I said, you need to do a Destiny's Child song, like Say My Name. But I showed her how like she could record the video in this part and then do this and do this and do this. She could have four of her in this video, singing all these harmonies and doing really cool. And I could see like you can't see the video, and it's like this, and then you open it up and then she starts singing, and at the end she closes it back down. So I all this pops in my head, but if you ask me like, oh, what colors and this and that, no, then I'm screwed.
Well, you're
Oh,
colorblind, so you can't ask you what colors really.
this is true. This is true.
But I know that you like blue, whatever that blue looks like to you. It may not
Is
be
this
the blue to
purple or
me.
blue? This is blue, right?
Yeah, you've got blue in that.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's why I like it.
Okay, so who needs a brand the most? Let's talk about who needs. So we have like genre writers, people who specifically write in a genre. We have self-published authors, um, people who, like you mentioned, speaking events, people like that, and authors with like kind of like a ghostwriter. I feel like someone who has writing, but they're not really out there. They almost need their own technical brand without. I don't know how you would put that. Like authors with like a backlist, people with like a. I don't know how I'm trying to describe this. Are you getting me? Can you pull this out of me? I'm trying to figure out what
The
how
only
I'm
thing
to.
I can say is I feel like everybody needs a brand, unless you're not hungry for it. Maybe you just like writing and you want to stay in the background, then I can understand. But if you really have aspirations of like, I want to be on 500 podcasts this year, I do want to get up and speak to people and explain my writing process to help them, then yeah, if you want to be up front and in the limelight, you definitely need a brand. You got like a lot of the artists I work with, like one of my clients is a girl named Megan Woods, the one of the biggest Christian songs out right now called "The Truth." I posted on my Facebook page the other day, and some friends like, "What? She's your student?" I'm like, "Yeah, I worked with that song specifically many times before and during recording of it to make sure she nailed every note." um you know, she needed a brand because she needed to stay out there, and she's like a white Christian Whitney Houston, and she's very elegant in what she's wearing, and that's how I see her. And so she's growing the brand. But if you're like, nah, I don't want to really be out there, I don't want to do that, I just like writing for fun, then
Well,
maybe
yeah, then
branding.
maybe you don't need the brand. That's fine,
Exactly.
and that's fair. That's fair. But when I was thinking, okay, so I think I've pulled this together now. When you're an author and you've written a ton of stuff, but you've never branded yourself, and now you're starting to like, okay, I need to pull myself together. You have ghost written for people. You have wrote your own stuff. You have all these things that you've written, but you've never kind of pulled it together. You need a brand. You need to brand yourself and put yourself out there as I'm a writer. You know what I mean? Those type of people, those are people who aren't like constantly putting books out or whatever, but they're like constantly writing and they're wanting to finally, okay, I'm taking the next step to be out there as an author. I've wrote blogs for myself. I've done all these things. So,
Yeah, I've never branded myself as an author. I'm going to be honest. Even though I've been in this, think about it, I had friends that are like, yeah, how many? You've written how many fiction books? What?
mhm.
I never even knew it.
Well, even
And
author publisher, like you tend to shy away from those two titles. I notice whenever we chat.
yep, I think it's where honestly, just being in the music realm for so long, and I've told you this, and I'm going to flat out admit it. I love coaching voice and I love writing, but if I had to just do one, it would be writing. And it's not nothing against my student. I love all of my students, but I get lost in my books. I mean, it's like I that's why I don't I'm seem like I'm high. I'm not on anything, but if I had needed some Prozac or Adderall, it's writing a book. That's what gets me excited, even though I haven't done it for a while. I know. But but the coaching of Dr. Fox is taking over my life. But now like I even separated my Instagram pages, and
Hmm.
I have a guy coming tomorrow who made me these beautiful banners. We're hanging on the wall, redoing the lighting in here and everywhere, so that I have three places to do these podcasts and do other things and shoot videos for that, because I want to read my books. I want to read you an excerpt. I want people to know what I'm
Hmm.
writing. So they're like, oh, that's that glass breaking dude. Now I want to be like, ah, that's that guy that writes those YA fiction novels.
Hmm. Yeah, well, you actually put that thing out there. You know what I mean?
Yep, I know. I know. Yep. King of the Hill's
Yeah.
coming back, by the way. So
Oh, King of the Hill, I think, is coming to Fortnite.
What? You
Like
ain't
the
no way.
characters, I
He's
think
gonna
they're.
sell propane?
Yep.
Yep.
Hey, well, I don't know about that, Dad.
That's what I.
What the heck?
That's what I do to my students. I'm like low larynx, like, hey, I'm Hank Hill, and I sell propane accessories. That's low larynx, high larynx.
But Dad, I don't. I told you I want a macrame.
Oh my
And then you
gosh.
go over there, sit down, you know, man, you know what I want to do when I'm out, drink my beer, man. You got Boomhauer
And this is why you haven't written anything in a while.
because I make silly sounds.
Because you're watching King of the Hill.
Oh no, that's ingrained in my mind. I haven't watched it forever. I know King of the Hill.
That's so funny. All right, so let's talk about some practical tips for building a writer's brand. All right, so if you were talking to me, we're going to do this in kind of like comparison mode. It's not really comparison, but like at the same time, we're going to compare as if you are doing this yourself or if you are talking to me and we're going to create a brand together for you as a writer.
Yeah, I'm just gonna let you do it for me
Okay.
because I don't want to do it myself. I'll get too lost.
Well, and that's the thing though. Like when I talk to, if I'm talking to someone, like when I mean, I know Willow, I know her books. Like I sent you
Second
her
cover, yeah.
second cover, and she's in love. She's obsessed.
Yeah.
Um, well, and she had some things going on this week with her puppy. Had to have emergency surgery, and
uh,
so she was feeling like, as an empath myself, I could feel even though she's like several
seven.
yep, even though she's several streets over, I could feel her energy and
Yeah.
knowing that she was sad and being there for her puppies. So I'm like, you know what? I'm going to do something. I'm going to work on her second cover. She had given me notes. And the thing is, so visually, she's like, she can see what she wants, but putting that into words or doing it herself is not necessarily um, uh, a possibility. Like people can visualize what they want their covers to look like. They can visualize what they want their brands to look like. So the more I got to know her, um, I can see her style.
Yep.
And so, like when creating her book covers, I know visually what style she's like because we went to the bookstore. She gives me notes. Okay, I want this a little darker. I want to use violets and reds. These are the things that are happening in this series. Like, here's one of the key points in this book. This is happening, and blah, blah, blah. So I take that and you visualize it. Well, knowing all these things, I remember I was helping her. I didn't build her website. She built her website, but I went in. She gave me access to kind of straighten it up a little bit, clean it up a little bit for her. And I was like, you know what? She needs a brand. She needs a logo. And she didn't even know she needed it. And I went in and I decided to make one for her. And I said, hey, you don't have to use this, but I thought maybe you'd like to have this if you want to use a brand. And I took her WG and I put a sword through it because she's a fantasy writer and created this logo for her. But because she's going to have a specific target audience. So I know the type of people she's trying to target. She's wanting fantasy, sci-fi people. So that sword is going to encompass both. Um, she's going to be identified by her style. So I had to keep that in mind. So if I was talking to someone that I did not know, these are the things I would ask them. I'm like, okay, who are you trying to reach? What kind of an audience are you wanting to captivate? Are you into like more fantasy? Are you going to be more like mysterious? And that, like, we've talked with Daniel about this. There are key points to keep in mind when you're creating font, even. Certain fonts match up with certain genres and certain styles. You don't want to have Comic Sans for like everything, like that one professor I had. But like the authenticity of your brand needs to represent you. So one of the things I feel like personally when I'm creating something, I always tell someone, if you don't like this, please tell me. Tell me what you'd like to change or if you want to scrap it, start all over. So be authentic and don't try to please the person that's making it for you or everybody else. Make it identify with you, your
Yeah. I
brand.
mean, because then you walk away, and 6 months later, be like, "Ah, I wish I would have done it like this." Communication.
Mhm. Well, and you've been talking to me about building your website for the past year. And so that's been in the back of my mind thinking of how we're going to do this until you were ready to jump on board and like, okay, let's do this. It was back there like, how would I create Jamie's website? What would I put in there? What are the colors? What are the themes? What are the thoughts?
And now
What
I
are
got that authenticity.
authenticity? Yes,
Authenticity.
au-
You're not going to be able to say it right
add to
now.
the words. Add to the words.
Authenticity.
Authenticity.
Authenticity. What?
Whoa. Whoa. I think that's adults only.
All right. Authenticity.
think you need to not only have a logo for that one, but you probably need to have like a
And rated R.
no, you need to have your ID check. Get a little band. So it's like, yes, allowed to access and allowed to enter. Okay.
I'm over
Um
21, obviously. So
so what I just thought about this. Like if you do not brand yourself, the only way that you're going to get your book out there is word of mouth, doing a lot of book signings, where local book signings, which is a great idea, by the way. You should always do local book signings.
yeah, Kat does that a lot.
Yes, but the cool thing about Kat is, which with her, I have like a several. She has like a whole like book tour. I feel like scheduled for the next
Yeah,
several months.
Catherine Horsley.
Catherine Horsley. I have I have a style for her ads that I make. Like she has her own style. Like when I do her ads, they all have a certain aesthetic to them, that I keep because that's kind of like when you see that pop up, that's her brand.
Yeah,
Even though she's not technically branded, she is branded on Vendera about how I use her name. The Soulless series has its own brand. So like that aesthetic for those books is, it has some continuity to it. You have to build your own relationships with readers, like that you have to push that book and get hopefully that they will push your book for you. So you're taking a lot of trust in that. And you have to be in a lot of literary communities pushing your stuff. So there's a lot more you're gonna have to work, period. But like I feel like if you're not branding yourself, people may like, oh yeah, I totally forgot that was you. Oh yeah, that was you. I didn't recognize your name.
yeah. The thing is, authors think the book is the hardest part. That's the easiest part of this journey, and we see. I mean, even with some Vendera authors, there are ones that are super successful, ones that's just it's just the books don't sell as well, but it's up to the author. We are the publisher, we can help you, but you have to realize that's your child. That book is your child. You have to nurture it. You got us all, when you have a baby, look at my baby's pictures. You're proud to show off your child. You need to be proud to show off your book, and you need to get out there. I'm not in all these writing groups like you mentioned, but of course, we're publishers, we're doing podcasts, I'm teaching voice. I just don't have time. Luckily for me, my credibility came because I was pushing. I did dozens and dozens of television shows until I personally decided to retire because of the accident with the glass in my throat. And I still get calls to this day. I
Mhm.
get called at least 3 or 4 years. It's kind of dwindled down to about that. But when I quit in 2016, for the next 4 or 5 years till COVID, at least a dozen offers or more a year. And I was like, no, no. So
Well, and you saying that actually brought up two key points that about that, like finding the right balance. So, one, you talking about how you were doing all this and then you kind of sidetracked with writing and you want to get back. Your brand can evolve. That's why it's key to have your brand encompass who you are as a whole writer, or like you have several facets. You have an ADHD realm of things that you do
I do have an ADHD day every day. So,
every day, every day. So, but your brand represents all of that.
yep,
Okay. So at any point when you're evolving into one of those facets, it's there for you. Your brand can evolve. Just like you were talking about Lady Gaga earlier, she has evolved as a person, but the Lady Gaga is still a brand that stays consistent with who she is.
yep.
You know but yes, so be flexible because, like I said, your brand can evolve. But remember why you write, and that's what we do this podcast for: is to one help you, inspire you, give you some tips if we have them that might help you um, to overcome like things like writer's block.
Or boredom.
hmm But don't let your branding overshadow your writing and your love for writing. So create, if it's too overwhelming, hire someone. Okay. Buy your website site domain immediately, even if you don't have time to go and build the website, or you don't have the financial means to pay for someone to do it. At least,
Agreed. Because you
at
never
least,
know.
yes, at least own the website. Like, own the titles of your book, own, like, go in and buy these things so you own them. But that reminds me, I'm gonna go buy Crystal. I don't think I own Crystal Gate and Four Rivers and all that stuff. I'm gonna go buy those.
Thank God we're just recording and it ain't out
I know
today.
it's not
Be like,
live.
I'm going to buy. Hey, that literally yeah,
I
horror
know.
story. I've told you this.
hmm
The Extreme Scream series, and I'll not
hmm
mention the name of this coach who did this. out of some respect.
He who
But
shall not be
yeah,
named.
but I was like updating Raise Your Voice, and some coaches was doing articles, and I was posting on my one of my groups that this coach was in, and I see, yeah, I'm working on this extreme scream series on like how to do low growls, mid range, high range. And my partner, I said, hey, I'm going to go buy extremescream.com today. No, do not do
Mhm.
that. I need a controller. I'm building. I said, dude, I'll buy it and then you can have. No, 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 no. I'm going to handle it. About six, and I thought he did. So like 6 months later, I'm like, dude, I just went to buy extremescream.com and it's gone. I'm like, what? It was there. He said, yes, some person named da 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 da. I said, you got to be kidding me. And I was a little shyer back then. This is over 10 years ago. I was pissed. So we had a little thing. One of my partners had used some wording that was similar to one of this guy's books. And he contacted me. He's like, hey, buddy, I see you're kind of using words for, are you writing a book? I said, nah, my partner is just doing some marketing blasts. It's just like a one-time thing. No big deal. He said, well, I mean, I don't really want to get legal on you. I called him. If I would have beat his ass, I flipped out. I said, let me talk about getting legal. And I said, here's what you did. I didn't do that. And I made him admit it. He says, yeah, I guess I was kind of like, I said, yeah, you're a weasel. You actually stole that from me because you saw me post it. And you act like, I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. You keep using the marketing. Dude, you're right. I apologize. And it was heartfelt. But if it was really heartfelt, he would have been like, I'll give you the domain name. No,
Mhm.
no.
And that's
So,
a prime example with covers. I should have bought it because it didn't. So, well, and the thing is, I didn't check to see if it was technically available because when I went in and titled it covers with a K because of, K, Carissa, I went in there and covers.com, like it's like cannot be found. So for me, it's like, oh, there's not a website that covers.com exists. But upon buying, covers.com didn't exist when my friend was trying to get it for me. And then when I went in to GoDaddy the other day, it wasn't available as far as, well, I lie. It's available. It is it
for a
like
lot of money.
well, and it's already increased in price because the other day when I went in, the domain name was available for 15,000.
And you know why it's increased in price, right? Or
Well,
decreased.
now for full price it is
You know
$29,888.
why? Because they seen that someone bought covers, book designs, covers. Same thing with Dr. Vox, since the main parent site's out of Turkey, it's .com. We bought .us, .shop, and I was thinking the other day, how cool it'd be like the Vox,
Hmm.
and I know that was available. Now I went in and I checked Vox.com, the Vox.com, they're both bought. I was wrong, Krista. Vox.com is on sale for like $90,000.
Hmm.
And the other one, the Vox, I'd have to call and negotiate. That's the one I'd want, the Vox.
Yeah.
But, you know, that's how
Yeah.
people are. They did that with Elizabeth Sabine, when she lost the rights to elizabethsabine.com. Somebody
Yeah.
swooped it up, called me, tried to sell it to me, and I basically cussed him out. I said, you're a piece of scum. I said, you people buy all these up and try to sell them. I said, she's 80 something years old. And
Oh
I
yeah.
bought .net, and
People
you
people
know,
do that. People will literally be vultures and be like, "Oh, you're
absolutely.
starting that? I'm going to get on it. I'm going to buy your website now."
Yeah. So that's why I have so many in there, and I watch, and I'm like, I can't really let these go. So
Hmm. Well, and that's kind of like what was it not Sprite, but Sierra Mist. Someone named Sierra Mist waited because Sierra Mist let their website go by accident and did
really,
not, yeah, they did not renew it. Like I think it was like a 24-hour something, and this person went in and picked it up. That's her name, and
hmm,
now she owns it. So Sierra Mist had to change their name to that Starry thing.
yeah. Oh, I
Completely,
didn't know.
yeah, they had to completely rebrand.
Starry Sierra Mist. I had no clue. Because my wife the other day we ordered Giovanni's and she wanted she usually gets Sprite. And I asked, you got Sprite? No, we got Starry. I was like, what is this? Some off brand Kroger
No,
Big
that was
K?
Sierra Mist.
Okay. Uh
So
see?
that's branding gone wrong when you're not paying attention to your website and it's gone.
Yeah, there's so much with trademarking because like especially if you really have a good brand, that's another avenue.
Yeah,
Trademark.
and that's we copyrighted
Yeah, we
trademark
trademarked to Always Bright
Always Right
Podcasts.
Podcast. Yeah, all I can't even talk. Always Right Podcast. We trademarked that, and we own the domain. Um, we don't own alwaysright.com. We own alwaysrightpodcast.com. We are a podcast. We are not anything other than that. But yeah, so get in there, buy your domain, even if you're not using it right now, and save that as immediately as an author. And then what you do is when you decide, okay, Now that I've got my books out, I'm starting to push. I think I want to just get at least a landing page. Find someone who targets um, authors with
Hmm.
creating, like myself. I'm not saying you have to come to me. You can go to coversdesigns.com. You can look at my website stuff. I will help you create a landing page if you want. Anything you want. Even if I'm like I can't technically help you, maybe I can lead you in the right direction. But don't trust just anyone. Make sure that you see their stuff, that they're helping authors. They know how to market authors. They know how to the marketing world for authorship as far as that goes. Don't just go to someone who builds something for insurance companies. There is a difference, a different aesthetic between a law office and an author website.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it's nice that you're an author. I mean, would you come from a background with the tattooing and being an artist and doing portraits and stuff? That I think you were better suited for this. Because I don't even remember. I don't think you balked back against me, but I'm like, hey, you should do a website. You should be doing this. But I know you said something to me the other day about, I don't remember how you put it. I was humbled by it, but like you was like, thank you for actually pushing me to do this.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, I'm happy. I love my website.
Yeah,
So
and you always have my back when it comes to like me deciding to do something with the art world of
yeah,
publishing and all that stuff. So yeah,
yeah.
but that's what we make a great team when it comes to this publishing world. We're here for each other, but we're also here for those who are listening, those who are wanting to be writers. We would do the same for you, even if we technically can't help you on our end directly. We can maybe point you in the proper direction.
Yeah, I mean, we have plenty of contacts. I mean, I still love Molly Burnside, who's done many covers for me, and she's done my earlier websites. And we originally started as thevoiceconnection.com. And I'll be honest, that website was badass. And that was in the day, it wasn't as easy as it is now. I mean, she literally had to code everything from HTML up, and it was
Yeah.
cool. But we changed it because the guy who didn't buy Extreme Scream, and when he said he would, my partner, he's the one that said, for brand, you need to switch from thevoiceconnection.com to jamievendera.com. You need to focus on that. So
And here we are. Evolve. Your
yeah,
brand has evolved.
yeah. So I mean,
But Molly stays busy.
oh
Daniel
yeah,
stays
she
busy.
stays. God, I mean, I'd still love
Yeah.
for her to do covers, but I know she's so successful and she does a lot of
Mhm.
stuff. She sells houses, and
Mhm.
sometimes I hate, like, if you're listening, Molly. Like, I've reached out. She needed to do a cover for me, and haven't heard back. But I'm like, I feel guilty because she's so freaking busy. I'm like, oh, she don't have time for this little cover when she's making 10,000 times more money on selling a house. I'm like,
Oh yeah.
oh well.
Yeah. Okay. Well, this has been a pretty useful and well-tipped episode for branding. If you have questions or thoughts, or maybe you want to send us your brand and say, "Hey, can you help?"
Yeah,
Reach out.
absolutely.
Reach out to us at alwayswritepodcast@gmail.com. Or if you want to go, yes,
I was going to say, or just go to Covers Designs if you need to hire Carissa to help you with your brand or your website.
I would be more than happy. Yeah.
Shameless
And
plug.
I put a little thing on there that you have to accept. You see, did you read my thing where it's like, feel free to get inspired, but just don't steal.
Yep.
Steal people's ideas. But if you're someone who's like, oh, I need a story. I need to start a story. I have something on there now called Storyline Starters, which I own, storylinestarters.com,
Yep.
which points to that page. But so I have all these stories in my head, and I'm like, I can't write all these,
Yep.
nor will I. So I put out the byline for what I'm doing is I'm putting out the byline, kind of what you would see on the back of a book, kind of like the little teaser. So if someone's interested, they can reach out to me. I have all of the plot twists, everything that I've listed for this thing that they can have for one low price of $50.
Man, I never thought about it. We need to have a discussion. I have a lot of those. I have some I was doing with Daniel I will never write.
Mm-hmm.
I just need to go
Well,
pass
and
them
that's
on
what
to
I'm
you.
thinking. Like, who puts story starters out there? I'm like, this might be a thing. I need to buy this website, storystarters.com. Storylinestarters.com is where you can go in there. I have a book cover right next to it. I have a story idea. You don't have to take the book cover, but if you want the book cover and the story, we can do a package deal. I'm going to do one low price.
Yep. And if you need help plotting it out a little deeper, that's another level to it. So
Yep.
maybe it's
Yep.
not, but I just made it up just to get in there.
Well, I'm here for people. And there's part of this journey is helping people, not just because you want to make money from them, but the content is to release the copyright of the story is $50.
Yeah.
to release the copyright of the book cover, the pre-made book cover, that costs money. To make you a book cover, that costs money. To help you is free because I feel like I'm given the gift to help. I can't charge sometimes when it comes to certain parts of that because I feel like that's just me as a person wanting to help others succeed. And that comes back.
Yeah,
You
and I mean, think you may like, I really want to write, and you find some idea that Carissa had, and you have no idea, and it's your first book. The first book is the hardest.
Mhm.
So if you had an idea and it inspired you and you ran with it and you get that first book done, it's going to explode the creativity in you and you'll be able to continue that book with a series or switch over and write something else.
And on the flip side of that, even if you've written like dozens of books and you're like, I love to write, but I've ran out of ideas, then you can go there and be like, you know what? That's a great idea. I think I need to talk to her. I want to get, almost look me as like a coaching mentor on the backside that I have all these great ideas that maybe you want some of them that I don't feel like I can write because I don't want to, but I think they're great ideas. And we could just like collab as far as that goes. You buy the rights, it's your book, and then we're done. All I have to do is when you're done with the book, put it on my website with a link to Amazon so people can see that where they can buy your book.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
All right, you may continue on about.
Yes, you can find us at alwayswritepodcast.com. You can click on those icons, follow us on social media. You can watch us on YouTube. You can hear us on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and Amazon Music. So, with that, we're very appreciative of all the episodes you listen to. And as you've noticed, maybe we're not there every week, but we will be there definitely continually, just not every single week anymore because it's become to a point where we're very busy, but we also want to keep putting out episodes for our listeners because our episodes um, have been getting a lot of traction with people obviously interested in the writing world. So we want to make sure we maintain that presence for you.
Yeah, we're not going anywhere. Carissa's starting another podcast. I am being
Hmm.
twisted into starting another podcast on vocal health, which I'm
Yeah,
having a
so
meeting about
Jamie's going
today.
to do that.
Yep.
And I'm going to be teaming up with Willow, and we're going to be doing a podcast that's going to be super exciting. And we will tell you more maybe in the next episode because Willow and I last night were researching one of the first topics that we were going to be covering, and it's going to be super exciting.
And you bought the web domain name for that too the other day.
Hmm. Oh, we've already got the logo for that. We've already got the logo brand. We've got,
Wait a minute, you're branding it?
we are
Really?
branding it.
Oh, maybe that's a smart idea.
Yeah. Who would have thunk it?
Yes. All right. Well, I'm author Jamie Vendera,
And I'm author Carissa DeLay.
and
Thank
always
you for
right.
listening. Yes, and always right.